occasion, March 12th meeting. If we could stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Swab,
Here.
Mrs. Brewer, Mr. Biesecker,
Here.
Mr. Manuel,
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. We'll try to be efficient since so actually the sun's out, but sun sets late, so we can actually enjoy the rest of the evening. First on our agenda is any additions or deletions to the agenda that was printed. If we have none, could I have a motion for approving the agenda?
So moved.
Thanks, Scott. And a second. Great. Any discussion? If none, roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next is approving our February 12th minutes. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Thanks, Train. A second. Thanks, Scott. Any discussions or additions? None, roll call for approval, please, Carl.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our administrative team for our student spotlights.
First of all, good evening, everyone. So for our student spotlights this week, we're spotlighting in the elementary and first grade. We happen to have 2 first grade teachers here who would like to honor their students. We'll turn it over to them.
I am pleased to recognize Braden Marsh for this month's Student Spotlight and for being an all-around great student in my classroom. Braden is 7 years old and the son of Dusty and Race and Hunter and Corey. He has 2 sisters, London and Raylan. He enjoys talking and playing with his friends. Pink is his favorite color, and he loves pizza. At school, he likes math because it teaches his brain a bit more. He likes to read books about football. When he grows up, he would love to play for his favorite football team, the Cincinnati Bengals, or be a pipe worker like his dad. The thing that is most important to him is his family. He has everything he needs right at his house. Those were his words. Braden is a great example of someone who follows the 5 R's. He is responsible and respectful to his peers and adults. He always listens carefully and follows directions. He participates in class and puts forth his very best effort. He is a friend to everyone and willing to work with anyone. His positive attitude, friendly personality, and determination will help him achieve any goal he sets. I am grateful that he is part of my class this year and can't wait to see what the future holds for him. Keep up the fantastic work and congratulations, Braden Marsh.
Let's see that. Fancy certificate. There we go. Okay, say cheese. Thank you.
All right, I would like to nominate Lennox Miller for this month's Student Spotlight for being a fantastic student in my classroom. Lennox is the daughter of Haley and Ryan of Bradford. She has 1 brother, Scout, and a sister named Ledger, who's her favorite, right? Ledger's her favorite. And she don't tell her brother that. Her favorite thing to do is to read Elephant and Piggy books because they're nice and long and they're easy for her to read. Her favorite thing to do at home is play with her sister, Ledger. And she really likes doing math when she's at school. She also likes cats and dogs and horses, but she could never pick a favorite animal because she loves all of the animals. So when she grows up, she wants to be a veterinarian. So she is a great positive role model for others because she's often respectful and responsible with other students as well as adults in school. I am proud of the student that she is, and I can almost count on her to participate in class and be responsible enough to do what is right. Lennox often tries to encourage others when they're feeling sad or do not feel confident enough to do something on their own. And her peers in her class count on her to be a great friend. And I'm so excited to see what Lennox does in the future.
Say cheese to your mom.
Thank you.
Okay, and next we have our nominations from our senior high staff. And start off with Keith. Come on up here, Keith. How are you doing today? Good. And Keith was nominated by Mr. Hall. This is what Mr. Hall had to say. I'm nominating Keith Gaines for this month's Student Spotlight. Keith is a sophomore at Bradford. He's involved in football and powerlifting. He has a strong work ethic in the classroom and continues to accomplish goals set for him. He is always helpful to those peers needing assistance and contributes positively to class. He continues to put forth effort when new concepts can be challenging and encourages other students when they become frustrated. Great job, Keith. Keith, and congratulations.
I'm sorry.
And then our last nominee was Nate Young. He was nominated by Mrs. Timmerman. This is what Mrs. Timmerman had to say. I would like to nominate Nate Young for this month's Student Spotlight. Nate has shown a lot of growth in the past 2 years that I have known him. Nate has improved academically by being an active participant in his learning. He asks and answers questions during class. He does his work and he cares about his grades by checking to see if he has all of his assignments turned in. Nate is also a pleasure in class. Each day he comes to class with a positive attitude and gets along well with his peers. Keep up the good work, Nate. Great job, Nate, and congratulations.
We'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. We'll pause our meeting for a moment before we will move forward. If anyone would like to, if the parents and everyone would like to head home and enjoy the evening, you sure can. And then we'll start up in just a few minutes.
Again.
All right, for middle school, high school, quick update. Dark County workforce put on a STEM academy for females across the Dark County area. We had a couple teachers select about 14 students to attend this. They had a great time. They loved the fact that they were actually handing out prizes, door prizes to the kids and their girls, and it was a lot of Lululemon stuff. So they came back with a lot of goodies, but very educational, very good for them. Trying to encourage more young people to go into more of the STEM academy type things with math and science. So Mrs. Bolin and Mrs. Lear escorted them over there and said it was a really great trip. Kids represented Bradford very well. We did have a full week of FFA week, lots of activities that they did. They had a state representative come in one day and worked with them. They provided breakfast for the staff, and it all kind of culminated with a trip to an Ohio State, Michigan hockey game, where, as much as I hate to say, Ohio State won. That's what we've had going on a little bit. We do have kind of a shared slide that Michelle put together for us.
There's not a whole lot to share, but the Valentine's Day party happened the day after we met the last time. And so these are just some of the things that happened in the festivity. She made this hat that she put on her hat that was her box, but it's always fun to see how creative the kiddos are when they make their boxes. Last week was Read Across America Week, and it was camping themed, so some of the things that they did is they got to read with flashlights. Mr. Roberts came in and he read with the class, as well as Stacy Lehman came in and read with the class, so those two things happened. One day we got to dress up like forest animals, so we got some forest animals there, and then God always had green eggs and ham the week of Read Across America. So that's what this is kindergarten had green eggs and ham. It's always, I think this is one of the favorite things. And then we got coming up, yeah, we're going. We've got coming up next Wednesday, come camp with us for a night of family fun. And so next Wednesday, there's different things that will take place. There'll be a scavenger hunt. If they get so many on the scavenger hunt that night, they receive a little bag of prizes where they get, tell everybody, but an ink pen and a little notebook and a little magnifying glass so they can catch bugs and put them in a little petri jar and do those types of things. And then we actually have a skunk, not a real one, but a skunk to get pictures taken with, and you can enter to win a tent. And we also have another thing that a bingo board that the students got to take, or a choice board, to just help families spend time together. So there's some games they can play on there, read a book, maybe just go for a walk together, just to have students and parents take the time to interact with one another. And if they get 4 of the spaces filled on that, they get a game that they can then play with their family. It's a choice of Uno, checkers, there'll be all kinds of different games they can choose from. So I think it's gonna be an exciting time. I've already got kids saying, I'm coming. And Mr. Dollar, as long as weather's permitting, is going to do s'mores out on the playground area.
We'll do s'mores, depending on weather permitting, maybe inside.
Well, you can do it in microwave. All right. And then this, I was hoping it would show up better. This is our state testing calendar.
Yes, for elementary and for high school.
The black is for the elementary, and then the gold color, I was trying to color coordinate, is for the high school and junior high school testing. I don't know what time this was not gonna show up real good, but anyway, 5th grade testing is where it starts on April Fool's Day, and for part 1 and 2, but do you receive this in the board? Like, do you receive this?
I will put that in the agenda for
Okay,
update this week.
all right.
It's a little funky this year just because of where our spring break lands. Well, we didn't want to test during that week because kids' minds wouldn't be in it. For the junior high and high school, we are going to operate on a 2-hour delay schedule again, like we have in the past, and bring not all of our students, but there'll be at least 2 tests each day and 2 or 3 others doing intervention, working towards, kind of cramming for their next test. So, April will be interesting, but.
Into May.
Yeah,
April
it'll
into
be
May.
into May. So, yeah, it'll be a crazy 5 weeks for us. But the state in their infinite wisdom, schedules these dates well in advance, and, there's not much we can do about that break, that 1 week break because of spring break.
Do you have any questions about what we showed so far? All right, now it's just the,
Yeah, and then just kind of our upcoming events that we have coming up. Camping time.
that's that night, the family fun night,
Okay.
camping.
We do have a Dark County Art and Education next Wednesday, and then a 2-hour early release the next day. The one thing I do want to highlight is on the 24th, which is scheduled for a PD workday. We will be in school that day, so for anybody out there listening, that is a day of school for our students now because of the makeup day. And then we've got some boosters and PTO meeting, and then junior high testing incentive to State 36 on the 27th, and then the 28th, the high school students are going to go to McPost. So then next time we meet, we'll be in the middle of testing. So we might have some news to share from that, see how that's going.
Sorry.
Hi, everybody.
I have quite a few things, just catching up from not being here, so I've got a couple extra slides and more slides than they did. Athletic schedule, this is just through the rest of the month. A few highlights we've got going on this weekend. Powerlifting will be at Kenton for the state meet. That is the 15th. And then here soon, in 2 weeks, we will be having our first track meet of the year on the 29th. The full list of track meets that we are hosting this year is the 29th and the 31st of March. The 17th and 21st of April. And then on May 10th, we're hosting the junior high conference track meet. So if anybody wants to volunteer their time, we always take extra hands at a track meet. Okay, go to the next one. Senior night. So I double checked and I know that there were no photos, so I added the girls in there even though that was before the last meeting. So for girls basketball, we had Megan Wood and Daphne Levy. The cheer girls that were honored with boys basketball were Izzy Boyer, Lexi Clark, and Layla Brewer. Boys basketball seniors were Steven Stewart, Trey Emanuel, Owen Cannon, and Zage Harleman. And then we had 8 powerlifting seniors that we honored at our big full meet. Anthony Jessup, John Troxel, Elizabeth Skinner, Layla Brewer, Lexi Clark, Izzy Boyer, Katie Hammer, and Griffin Trainer. Some postseason awards, I know that these are all put out on Twitter, but not everybody has Twitter, so I included them here. We had 4 students receive all conference honors. Owen Cannon was first team, Riley Berry was second team, Zage, Harleman, and Megan Wood were both special mention. Owen also received first team District 9. Riley and Owen were both honored Southwest District. Owen got first team, Riley was honorable mention. And then we had Piper Burgett as our first ever gymnast, and she qualified for state in the vault. So she competed a couple Sundays ago over in Columbus. Did very, very well. I believe Mindy told me there was only 16 total freshmen at the whole meet, and Piper was one of them. So, yeah, so we hope to see her back in Columbus next 3 years. I also wrote down a few things that I forgot to stick on slides. Student Leadership Council had an activity Monday for Mario Day. So if you wore red or green, the kids put together like a little track and you were able to race each other on the little scooters they use in gym class. So that was kind of fun for them. This coming week on Monday, we're gonna do St. Patty's Day trivia during lunchtime. And then we are planning something for Easter. We're not 100% sure what that's gonna be, probably some type of Easter egg hunt, but we'll be doing that coming soon. And then the record boards will be done soon. So I spent a couple hours chasing around one of my favorite photographers yesterday so we could take the background photos for each one of them. He's gonna get those to me by the end of the week for final for real approval before they get sent to the printer. So those will be up. I told him I'd like them up by Easter when the church isn't here. So there'll be lots of eyeballs on them by then, hopefully. Any questions?
Thanks. Joe?
Certainly, I have a few things here to talk about. The CEP, or the Community Eligibility Provision, is a program that allows all the kids in the school to eat free, breakfast and lunch. Some schools qualify, some schools do not. We are looking at the finances to see where we lie and see the eligibility in which we're in. Cheryl is watching a webinar later this week. I don't remember if it's tomorrow or Friday, but going through that and making sure that where we are and seeing if we are going to be cost effective to be able to do that and see if it's not going to cost the district a lot of money to do. But if it does go through, obviously every student in the building would eat free, both breakfast and lunch. The greenhouse project, we're meeting on Wednesday next week with the engineer, and hopefully we'll get that thing rolling. I am worried at this point. Our goal was to have it done this summer. At this point, I think that's overly optimistic. So we'll see where we go with that, but it is moving. Calamity Day makeups. This is something I kind of wanted any input if you guys have it for a few pieces here, but Mr. Barr already recognized that Monday the 24th, this is worthy of repeating, Monday the 24th is a makeup day for a regular traditional school day. It's not a PD day anymore. So all of our students will be here for a traditional day. With that, and it's as a part of that, since now the PD and work day are moved to the back of the school year, We are still gonna have the PD day, but we're looking at options of trading off some of that time for the workday part, knowing that they're going to have a half day, 1.5 days plus a 2-hour early release, all right in a row to clean up the rooms and get ready for summer. I kind of feel like there might be better ways to save some time or use time with our teachers. So if any of you have ideas on how to structure something like that, be very interested in that discussion. Not saying there's a perfect solution for anything, but the way it lines up right now, we literally would have a early release on Thursday, teacher PD and work day on Friday, and then a full work day on Monday following. So we're looking at options. So anybody have feedback for something like that right now, or?
Thoughts?
Then the Monday after Memorial Day?
It
It's the
would
following Monday.
not
That'd
be,
be following
right,
Monday.
that's a week.
Graduation, underclassmen come back the week after Memorial Day for,
3 days.
yeah.
So graduation's not on Memorial Day?
No, it is.
But students are here.
Yes, students will be in the building Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
the following, after
Come
Memorial
back
Day.
Following Monday.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which would be June 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that, I mean, that's realistically, that's probably what teachers would be doing anyway on that day is cleaning and putting up the rooms anyway, so I don't have an issue with it. Combining the two and let them start their summer. Makes sense to me.
All right. The restroom project, I've got slides for these next 3. The restroom project is moving along. We met with a flooring guy again today. We're still looking for options there. But you can see the 2 pictures on the far right are the inside of the bathroom. It's painted. The grid for the ceiling tile is in. We're waiting at this point for ventilation. They're going to actually drill through the ceiling to put vents in from the exhaust fans. We also have sprinklers that need to go in there because it's a new occupied space. And then we'll be able to, well, in the meantime, flooring fixtures and all that sort of thing will be going in as well. The middle picture there is the doorway going from the classroom into the restroom. Used to be a window there, looks very professional now, it looks really good. And then the picture on the far left is the entryway into the Head Start room from our vestibule. And they did some concrete work there, that's what I was trying to show with that picture. But they leveled everything back off, so it's now cleaned up and there aren't any trip hazards or anything there. The hallway project is moving. The kiosk is up. It is operational. It's not completely full of the information we want on there yet, but we have got some folks putting stuff in on a regular basis. If you look at it, in fact, it's probably on tonight, and Cody, if you're listening, which you probably are, he'll check it, but it really looks good. Skip framed it in with this woodwork around here with some LEDs right around the outside, so it shows off a little orange glow around it. You can't see it real well in that picture, but it is kind of cool to see. And it's a touch screen, so you go in and there's only 3 buttons right now for composites, distinguished alumni, and athletics. So it's really cool. It's a cool piece, and it'll be even cooler when it's completely full of information. The company is coming in over spring break to finish off the floor. If you've noticed, there are some defects as you walk down through the floor. We're going to mark all those before spring break. They're going to hand sand each one of those and then sand the entire thing and do another coat of epoxy clear on top. So that'll be done on Thursday and Friday and possibly Saturday as a bleed over day if they need time for dust to settle or something comes up. And then the door painting and trim work is done. So all the tan doors and trim work in the hallway are now black. And I think it looks pretty good. Proposed calendar, this was voted on at the last meeting per contract. And per Ohio revised code, it has to wait 30 days before it's officially adopted, which would be Saturday this week, 3/15. So if we continue with the streak we're on with no negative feedback from the community, this will just automatically go into effect on Saturday. And that concludes my report, unless there are questions.
The room over there for the kindergarten or whatever.
The Head Start room.
Head Start room?
Yep.
Wasn't that tied to a grant?
The restroom project that we're doing?
Yeah.
All of it, yes.
So
Now-
wasn't there a deadline? Did we meet that? That had to
Yeah,
be in progress or something by a certain date or finished by a certain date?
It's been an interesting thing because the structure, there wasn't enough money in the grant to actually do the entire project.
Right.
So the first year, we have split this up so we could get X amount of dollars in the first year, X amount of dollars in the second year. And we are actually to the point where we're running into some general fund cost at this point, not a lot. But we've talked about the idea that there'll be a third year for this grant.
Right.
Because since Mrs. Levy applied when she did, that
Thank you, Mrs.
got
Levy.
us, that got us into the realm of getting it every year. Now, there were no more people that are getting on it. We were lucky enough. But we have some work, the heating system that has to be done, we're gonna try to push that off into the third year of the grant, so that can be cost effective for us. So it will be a very nominal cost to the district, and I think it's gonna be a great thing
Oh, yeah.
for that room and for those kids' education,
Absolutely.
which will lead into what we have in the future, which was Mrs. Levy's concept from the beginning.
Well, you helped.
And I'm
We
gonna,
did it together.
I'm gonna throw a plug out to Skip and Aaron too. Our maintenance crew here is amazing.
Yeah, they are.
We got the quotes back today for flooring, and Skip came in, looked at it and goes, I can do this for less than half that. So we've looked at different options. I don't know if that's a direction we're going to take or not, but he is instrumental in doing things like this with making sure that some of the things that he can do are done in-house instead of hiring them out, saving the district a lot of money.
That's all I had.
Thanks. That's it, Ron?
I'm going to be very brief tonight because this time of year, I'm doing overview, trying to see what we can do as far as grants, waiting on some grants to see if they come to fruition. But unfortunately, this happened to me last year. I told you that we were going to be audited. Well, it's very, very important that this audit be done by the 31st of this month. And these audits usually take 6 months. If we don't do it by the 31st, and the firm doing it is very understanding of this because they know that they started too late. If we don't have it done by the 31st, we haven't met the requirements of the data collection so that we can continue to get federal grants. So that's why I called them in November and December and January. And so they started on Monday. So my life is somewhat dedicated to making sure that these gentlemen who are working on it are getting all the information they need. And it's quite a process to go through this, but it's a lot easier process when you're doing it over a 6-month period than over a 3-week period. We managed it last year. So far, I've been able to comply with their request. At 5 o'clock every night, I get a whole list of things that they need for the next day because there's one of me and there's 3 of them. So that's where I'm spending a lot of my time. The other thing, this is my time to review and see where we're at. We're coming on the time to do a renewal of the forecast in May. So I'm looking at various things, and I have some situations that are not as favorable as I'd like to see, and we're working through that. And in a future meeting, I'll share that. That's part of You have some advances on the board agenda tonight, and that's part of the reason that's out there. They are advances at this point. Until they're solidified, I do not transfer the money out of the fund. So we loan the money in the beginning. Once it looks like that we know exactly where we're gonna be, then we turn around, pay that back, and advance just what we need. So I try to protect the general fund as much as I can for as long as I can, but we do have some areas that we have to deal with, so. But other than that, I know it sounds like I'm having a very exciting life right now, but, I feel like we're gonna have a very favorable audit. We did do a lot of federal funding this year. I think it was between 2 and 3 million. That's one of the reasons why we have these annual audits. But it's been worth it for the district, and I think a lot of things have come to pass as a result of it. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Carla. Any questions?
So Carla, do they assure you that they'll be done then by the 31st?
They assure me of nothing,
Okay.
because if I don't provide them with documents, that's where the real pressure is for me. Because I can be their scapegoat. So the minute they give me direction, I call people in, I say, hey, I need help, guys. We got to get this out. We have to have it out immediately. And secretaries worked this week. They were great. We've been working as a team to get this accomplished, but they are not going to commit because they will look for me to not do something, and they can use me as their excuse as to why they didn't get it done. I plan to make that impossible for them to do. So they will have it done by the 31st, one way or the other. Last year, I was talking to them on the 30th and trying to clean everything up. So they know it's important. They'll have a hard time getting to be able to do grants for the state of Ohio again if they don't do this, because this is a public accounting firm that is not the state auditors. So they have, and I think they learned last year that I was very vocal. So I don't think we'll have a lot of problems getting it done, but it's going to be a stretch to get everything put together, and hopefully we can comply with all their requests.
Thanks, Carla. Other questions? Next is a public participation. I had no requests. Did you have any requests?
None whatsoever.
And then next is a special public participation on the issue of reemploying Joe Hurst during his service retirement. And I've had no requests to speak during that. Does anyone wish to speak? Hearing none, then we'll move forward. Next is the financial reports from the treasurer. Carla, could you give us a high-level overview of what you would like us to approve?
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, I discussed a little bit earlier. 5, these are all typical resolutions. Now, number 6 is the resolution you signed. It's really an acceptance of the rates that the county auditors computed, and that's a typical this time of year from the adoption of the tax budget. 7's a donation, 8 is a donation, 9 is a donation, 10 and 11 are donations.
Do I have a motion to approve the items presented? Thanks, Scott. In a second.
Second.
Thanks, Holly. Any questions or for Carla or discussion topics? If none, roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes. We have no old business to review tonight, but our new business items are item 1 through 6. The superintendent recommends we approve these. Joe, could you give us a high-level overview of what you'd like us to approve in the consent? Sir, item 6.
Number 1, we've got some resignations there, including one of our aides is retiring. Norm Kenworthy will be missed around here. She was definitely a personality that lights up the room. We have some substitutes that are going to be helping out. We have some employments of some track coaches and some other supplementals through there. And then one that probably does need explained is E. BJ Hunter was our van driver. She got frustrated. She resigned her position last month. She has since looked at it and said, this isn't quite so bad. I really enjoy my job. I like driving this kid down here. And she wants to come back with us. So she is on the agenda tonight to be rehired for the position we posted for her resignation. So a little backwards, but we're making it work. Number 2, Frontline, we've got an analytics piece from Frontline coming to us to help us out. We've got some doc days there per request. Justin's contract for elementary yearbook, CDW for E-rate information or materials that we're going to purchase at a discounted rate, 70%, 80%, I think they pay for. Number 6 is our Meta Solutions contract, and that is it for the consent.
You have a motion to approve the items Joe presented. Thanks. And a second.
Second.
Thanks. Any discussions or questions for Joe over those items?
The van driver, does somebody want back?
Oh, yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's good.
All right.
She's worthy.
Yeah. She does a good job. We're glad she's a gold student.
They have a really great relationship. For the student and her and the parents. It was a harness confusion.
There was a little misunderstanding.
Perfect. That's
No other discussion, roll call. Carla for approval.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next is your construction items.
The 3 things in the construction portion are bathroom partitions for the Head Start bathroom. The sprinklers, they're expecting 2 sprinklers in that same bathroom. And then the third one is not for the bathroom, but rather for the kitchen. The grant is going to pay for a cold, so it's basically a refrigerator with windows all the way around it, so they can put yogurt in there and sell them out of the cold cabinet.
There's a motion to approve the items presented.
So moved.
And a second. Thanks. That's pretty expensive for 2 sprinklers.
Yes, it is. It's very expensive for 2 sprinklers.
That was the cheap quote.
Uh-huh.
That went up as high as, I believe, 16,000.
Yes.
It was-
And I probably should note, this was actually voted on 3 months ago, 2
I
months
think
ago, early on,
December.
with the higher quote. So Skip just got this one in. We were searching, and this company came back and said, let's go.
That's pretty good. That's still,
Yes,
it's a lot for a little, isn't it?
it's still a lot, yes.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next item for us to review is the Neola policies that we received. I appreciate the overview, so we're much efficient way to review.
Good. Good.
So you can dig into it if you had question regarding their picture of, that's always been helpful.
And how much, do you have questions on any of these policies here tonight? There were some things that were basically fixing Senate Bill 29 overkill pieces. There's some language changes that just basically update language. There's not a lot of earth-shattering stuff. There's pieces in here for open enrollment in 5113 that we already do. The special education piece we did a couple months ago. So there's not anything here that's, everything's just following laws. Is basically
Didn't seem
what it is.
greatly controversial.
Right.
And not a lot that was optional.
No.
Otherwise you fell outside the,
There were very few decisions to make when we had this
Right.
meeting.
again, it's just kind of that updating due to Senate bills and House bills that are passed.
Exactly. So, yep.
Case.
And I
Do you
can
guys have
go
any
through each
questions?
and every one of them if you really want to spend the time, if anybody has questions.
No, I don't think
So
The explanation was
please,
good.
I sat through a little
Yeah.
It's exhilarating.
Yeah, that's the word to use.
Yeah, so they go open with you individually to make sure you have no questions. And then you forward us the summary, which was
Yep.
perfectly.
And if any staff members or anybody in the public want to find out more about it, please give me a call.
That would be considered our first review of the policies. So the next item is a motion to enter executive session for item G1, which is listed on your agenda. Thanks, Scott. And a second.
Second.
Great. Roll call for executive session.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes, so it's 7:10, and there'll be no decisions made or voting after the executive session. A motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thanks, Trey, and Scott, a second roll call for adjournment.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
7:38.
7:38.
Thank you, everybody.